What is the top roller coaster in the world? Countless arguments and lists have been made, but today I intend to definitively crown the #1 steel coaster in the world for 2020. I'll be using an advanced computer simulation that's previously been used to predict things such as election winners and more to determine the result, and this high-tech software goes by the name of Worms Armageddon. 48 coasters will enter a battle royale and attempt to destroy each other until there's only one left, which will be crowned the undisputed #1 coaster of 2020. These coasters will be split into 5 teams, and each team has an equal chance of winning, as they'll all have access to the same weapons and the same level of AI. Once things kick off, I'll have no say in the proceedings, as it's up to the AI who they want to target and how they want to play. So let's have a quick rundown of the teams before we begin. Sadly, not every coaster in the world can be included, as each team can only consist of 8 members, so I've tried to pick each manufacturer's best or most prolific models to give as much variety as possible. Apologies if your favourite coaster didn't make the cut, and don't worry if you're a fan of wooden coasters, their battle shall take place on another day. First up, we've got Team Vekoma, which features an SLC, Boomerang, Halzuberkopf, Tron Light Cycle, Lech, Fly, Wrath of Zeus, and Gravity Max. Team Intamin consists of Millennium Force, Terran, Maverick, Skyrush, Intimidator 305, Hyperion, King Dakar, and Formula Rossa. Team B&M features Nemesis, Fury 325, Yukon Striker, Thunderbird, Montu, The Flying Dinosaur, Mako, and Shambhala. To fit in more coasters, the 2 German manufacturers Mack and Gerstlaur have teamed together, and that team consists of the Smiler, Flash, Helix, Junker, DC Rivals, Karnan, Fluch von Novgorod, and Takabisha. Team RMC features Hakuge, Steel Vengeance, Medusa Steel Coaster, Zadra, Railblazer, Twisted Timbers, Untamed, and Twisted Colossus. And finally, we have the wildcard team, which consists of all the other manufacturers, and in it we've got Full Throttle, Egenika, Steel Curtain, Steel Dragon 2000, Olympia Looping, X2, Dododonpa, and Phantom's Revenge. Just before we kick off, I will warn you that pretty much anything can happen in this Battle Royale. When I was testing some options, Steel Vengeance was completely destroyed by an SLC, and I can only imagine the comments that would generate. With that in mind, let battle commence. Starting off is Team B&M with Nemesis, and it looks like it's going to take an easy shot at Twisted Timbers, but it has also done some collateral damage to Dododonpa and Steel Vengeance. A great start to the match from B&M. The German team now takes its first turn with the Smiler, which is in a bit of a tight spot as there's so many worms surrounding it. It's going to be really difficult to make a safe shot, so I think it's going to try a trick shot. And that shot misses badly. I guess its head was still spinning from those 14 inversions. Team RMC up next, and my personal favourite coaster Hakuge, but it looks like it's in a pretty bad position here, as it could easily get knocked off and drowned in the water. And what a shot! That's the first kill of the match, and it's taken out 3 worms! Takabisha, Shambhala, and Fluch von Novgorod are out of there! That's going to be pretty devastating to the Gerstlaur team, as it's only the 3rd shot of the match and they're already down by 2. Vekoma's SLC is up next, and I'm really hoping this coaster doesn't win. There's only a few shots it can take, so unsurprisingly it looks like it's gone for Nemesis and Twisted Timbers. A good bit of damage there, but it's not enough to eliminate anyone this time. It secured itself in a decent defensive position though, and Vekoma are actually in the lead so far. The wildcard team is up next, with the Premier Rides coaster Full Throttle, although its offensive options are really quite limited by its position here. It's made the only shot it really could with an attack on DC Rivals, and it's starting to look like everyone's ganging up against Mack and Gerstlaur. Let's see what Intamin can do with their first turn, with many people's favourite coaster Millennium Force. And it looks like they've chosen to join the assault against Mack and Gerstlaur as well. This is starting to get a bit unfair. Maybe that's why there's so few of their coasters in America. B&M get their second turn now, with what's surely got to be a favourite, Fury 325. And that's a no-nonsense shot there, straight at Railblazer with a good bit of damage. Flash is up next, and it's in quite a high up position, but that shouldn't faze this 200-foot tall Mack Kuiper coaster. Following the example of Fury, it's taken a shot straight at Railblazer and Thunderbird, but both coasters still survive to fight another round. Steel Vengeance now, which I know a lot of people will be wanting to win, but I must say it doesn't look to be in the best position. It's taken the obvious safe shot at Flash this time, and there should also be some bonus fall damage to add to that bazooka impact. Back to Team Vekoma, which remains in the lead, and it's their classic Boomerang coaster, one of over 50 installations worldwide. It's taken a main shot at Steel Curtain, but it's also blasted Untamed a little bit closer to it. Perhaps it's trying to recreate Wallaby Holland, as the boomerang there is one of the best in the world. On to Ejanika, which I'm hoping will lose, as it spited me on no less than 2 occasions. It's taken a pot shot at Flash and Railblazer, and that's enough to eliminate Railblazer. RMC lose their first coaster. Flash is still hanging in there with just 7 health. It's taken a real beating these last couple of rounds. Team Intamin and Taran next, their incredibly themed Blitz coaster. It's not in the best position, but let's see what it can do. Strangely, it seems to have gone to say hello to fellow Intamin coaster Hyperion. Perhaps it's trying to gain a vantage point from its much greater height. Taran seems to be playing a bit of a pacifist role this turn, which is very strange. If Intamin want to win, then they definitely need to get more aggressive. And that's the only time you'll ever hear me say that about an Intamin coaster. Yukon Strikers next, the record-breaking B&M dive coaster. It's in a bit of a crowd here, which shouldn't normally be a problem thanks to its innovative baggage handling system, but that can't help it now as it takes a wild shot that hits nothing. That's got to be disappointing for one of B&M's newest coasters. Helix is next, Mack's fantastic double launch coaster located at Liseberg, and it's certainly staying true to itself. After leaving the starting point, it's taken a small drop before spinning around 180 degrees and into its first launch, although in this case it's launched a grenade at Olympia Looping and Mako, doing some moderate damage to both of them. Team RMC are up next with a fantastic Medusa steel coaster, one of my favourite RMCs and the first to be built outside of the United States. Strangely, both of the flying coasters in this match seem to be in position next to each other, and both through Medusa's sights, but it's a flying dinosaur that takes the hit, and only a small bit of damage has been done to fly. Team Vekoma and Halzubakov now, the brand new suspended thrill coaster, and it's tried a trick shot at Ejanika, but it's backfired horribly. Halzubakov eliminates itself. Hopefully this isn't an indicator for the reliability of the new gen Vekomas, as I quite enjoyed Halzubakov. Steel Curtain next, the unique S&S coaster at Kennywood that only opened last year. It's targeted Wallaby Holland and sent the boomerang absolutely flying. No doubt it'll be picked up by another park as boomerangs are just so common, but Untamed has taken a significant amount of damage now, which isn't good for an RMC. Intamin is firmly in the lead now, however that mostly seems to be from staying out of conflict with the other teams. Let's see what their double launch coaster Maverick from Cedar Point can do. Its weapon of choice appears to be the shotgun, which has 2 separate blasts, and that's a solid hit on Mako from the first one. The second shot, however, is a complete miss, which is quite strange as Maverick's second launch is by far the better of the 2. Thunderbird takes flight next, the launched B&M wing coaster from Holiday World, and I'm not really sure who it's trying to target here. That may have been a missed shot at X2, and it's not really done much damage, other than cause a small amount of friendly fire to fellow orange B&M coaster Yukon Striker. Back to the German team and Junker this time, a rarely talked about but great fun Gerstlaur Infinity coaster located at Power Park in Finland. Clearly it's unhappy with the Finnish national records being beaten by the Intamin coaster Taiga, and it's targeted several of their coasters in revenge, along with a few Vekomas for good measure. A great shot there from Junker, and that's a good bit of damage. Team RMC Zadra next, their first hybrid coaster to be built from the ground up. Zadra translates as Splinter, which is what I assume it's going to fire from that shotgun. And that's 2 kills from 1 shot. Ejanika and Thunderbird are both blasted into the water by Zadra. It still has a second shot however, and things don't look very good for Flash with only 7 hit points left. That'll be kill number 3 from Zadra, which is very impressive, and fittingly with the flash of an explosion, Mack's hypercoaster is eliminated. Tron Light Cycle next, the custom Vekoma motorbike coaster at Shanghai Disneyland. Interestingly, there's currently a similar coaster under construction for the Magic Kingdom in Florida, set to open in 2022. Tron is of course a competitive game, so let's see if this coaster's got what it takes to win. It's taken an easy shot at Junker and Montu, and that's some good damage against both, but not enough for a kill. Back to the wildcard team and Steel Dragon 2000, the longest coaster in the world. It's once again not in a great position here, so it'll have to think a bit creatively if it wants to mount an attack. That's a great shot against DC rivals though, doing damage and coming very close to forcing it into the water. Nice shot. Skyrush next, one of my favourite Intamin coasters, and I'm expecting some aggressive action here if it's going to be anything like the coaster it's named after. Interestingly, it's chosen to get up close and personal with a shotgun against the wildcard team. First shot's at full throttle, and shot number 2 directed straight at Phantom's Revenge. Mon 2 next, the great B&M inverted coaster, and clearly it's got revenge in mind after Tron Lightcycle had blasted it in that previous round. That shot's done some good damage and knocked Tron down into a pit, although it may be more comfortable there, as the majority of the coaster is actually indoors. Let's see if DC Rivals can get some revenge now against the coasters that have wronged it so far. Things aren't looking very great for the Mack and Gerstlaur team though, as they're now quite far behind and in last place. DC Rivals is taking on that cluster of wildcard coasters, and that's a risky grenade shot, but it's eliminated both Steel Dragon 2000 and Full Throttle. DC Rivals has been caught in the blast as well though, and has effectively sacrificed itself to do an incredible amount of damage to the wildcard team. That's got to be a huge setback for them, as they're now in second to last position. Twisted Timber's next, and it's looking to channel the spirit of Hurler, the wooden coaster that it was created from. Fittingly, it's hurled a bazooka shot that's been caught by the wind and struck the evil Vekoma SLC. Finally, it's had some damage done to it, just like what you experience if you ride one of these awful headbanging coasters. In contrast, we now have one of Vekoma's best coasters, the magnificent Lech from Legendia in Poland. It's decided to take revenge on RMC with a shot at Twisted Colossus, and that coaster's been lucky not to fall further, but it still had a good amount of damage done to it. Olympia Looping's up next, probably one of the oldest coasters on the field, but no less brilliant for its age. It's decided to lob a grenade at Intamin's Maverick, a solid shot, but overall things aren't looking that great for the wildcard team, as they remain in second to last position. Let's see what Intamin's phenomenal Giga Coaster Intimidator 305 can do. For a long time this was my number one coaster, and today its weapon of choice appears to be a grenade. A great shot damaging the Flying Dinosaur, Medusa and several Vekomas. Intamin's built up a really solid lead now. Can any other team possibly catch them? The Flying Dinosaur from B&M is certainly going to have a try. Will it go for revenge on Intimidator? It appears not, as it's gone for some close-up shotgun blasts at Medusa Steel Coaster. These coasters may be on the opposite side of the world from each other, but clearly there's some great animosity here, and that's a good bit of damage against Medusa. Despite frequent drops, it seems like none of the teams are interested in going after crates, which is unfortunate as they contain some really powerful weapons and health power-ups. That's something that this Mack and Gerstlaur team could really do with, as they're struggling along in last place. Karnan is their coaster that's up now, and appropriately it's firing downwards, just like the reverse freefall drop you experience in its tower. That second shot is a complete miss though, and Tron Lightcycle carries on to fight another day. The curse of Karnan is clearly not strong enough to defeat it on this occasion. Let's see what Untamed can do, Europe's first RMC conversion, and a fantastic coaster. Once again, the shotgun appears to be a popular weapon, and I think Untamed might be trying to recreate its own layout with the out and back style. It's taken a shot from the front before sneaking up round the back for a follow-up. Steel Curtain's in a bad way now with only 6 hit points left, and RMC continue to hold on to second place quite strongly. The newest coaster in the game is up next, Fly from Phantasialand. It's one of only a handful of coasters to open in 2020, and it's the new headline attraction for the park. There's several targets available to it, but it looks like it's gone for Taran. What a betrayal against Phantasialand's other top coaster. Most people I know do prefer the older Taran to Fly, and clearly that's not gone down well with this newer coaster. Back to the struggling wildcard team, and X2, the original 4D coaster from Magic Mountain. That's a long shot it's taken, but a great hit on Zadra. RMC's coaster has been blasted into the water and eliminated. Despite the wooden construction, it clearly can't float, and RMC are pushed down from 3rd into 4th position. Back to the leaders, Team Intamin now, and Hyperion, which will no doubt be mourning the loss of Zadra from its park Energylandia. I think it's out for revenge on the wildcard team. X2 is obviously out of reach, so it appears like it's going for Olympia Looping. It can't seem to make the shot though. Perhaps it's firing wildly in the air to commemorate Zadra, or it just can't bring itself to destroy the classic Schwarzkopf Olympia Looping. Either way, that's a weak showing from Hyperion, and Team Intamin may well live to regret showing mercy there. Mako, the B&M Hypercoaster, is up next, and it looks like it's showing no such nostalgia or mercy for Olympia Looping. That's a devastating shot there. King Ka, Taran, Hyperion and Olympia Looping have all been eliminated. That's 3 Intamin coasters destroyed in a single blast. Mako is clearly in its element around water, and that's been enough to put B&M into the lead. It's now the Smiler's turn, the record-breaking coaster with 14 inversions, and that's a skillful fire punch there, not only uppercutting Steel Vengeance in the face, but also picking up a health crate to boost its hit points to well over 100. That's changed everything and put the Mack and Gerstlaur team up into 2nd position. There's clearly still all to play for to decide on this 2020 rollercoaster battle royale. RMC's Twisted Colossus is up next though, another of Magic Mountain's coasters, and it seems like it's making some risky drops here. It survived the fall however, and it's going after the cluster of coasters below it. It's put a mine right on top of Skyrush's head, and that's a powerful blast that sent it flying into the water. That's also done a bit of damage to Fly and Phantom's Revenge, both are just barely hanging in there with a few hit points each. Team Vekoma and Wrath of Zeus now. This was a fairly late addition to the squad, and you may not be that familiar with it, but it's the first installation of Vekoma's Firestorm model, which looks like a fantastic coaster. This is a bit of a wasted shot however, barely causing a scratch to the flying dinosaur, and that's gotta be disappointing for Vekoma. This should be interesting. It's Dododonpa now, the fastest accelerating roller coaster in the world. Will it live up to its impressive reputation? No it won't. That's a bad miss, and once again it's done barely any damage at all. If only the ride still had its top hat instead of the loop, it would almost certainly have been able to handle the airtime of the grenade much better. From the fastest acceleration to the fastest overall, the 149mph Formula Rossa is up now, and that's a solid hit on Twisted Colossus. It's not done quite enough to kill it though, and Twisted Colossus joins a handful of coasters with only a couple of hit points left. Team B&M's Nemesis is up now. Let's see what the best roller coaster in the UK can do. Fittingly, this inverted coaster has gone after the far inferior SLC, 3 of which currently blight the UK. It's not enough to kill it, but it sure is satisfying to watch an SLC being damaged by Nemesis. More crates fall from the sky, and it's still all to play for with only a few points separating the teams. Mack's Helix is up now, the great double launch coaster from Liseberg, and has decided to get aggressive, fire punching Millennium Force in the face. It's not a huge amount of damage, but it's a defiant act to stake its claim as the better of the two coasters. Back to my favourite coaster now, Hakuge, the great Japanese white whale, and that's a very skillful shot with a direct hit on Junker, but also damaging Montu in the process. Could Hakuge be the overall winner? It's still one of only a few coasters with full health, so it's got a good chance now. Let's see what Gravity Max, the unique Vekoma tilt coaster, has to say about that though. Just like its vertical drop, it's fired straight down, and that's a brutal shot destroying Mako and causing some hefty damage to the two Intamin coasters. That's pushed Intamin to the very bottom of the table, a real surprise considering their strong start earlier in the game. A battered looking Phantom's Revenge now, and things really aren't looking great for the wildcard team. It's out for blood though, and there's a lot of weak coasters nearby that it could easily finish off. That shotgun blast has destroyed both Twisted Colossus and Fly, and Phantom's Revenge still has another shot left. It'll be lucky if it does enough damage here, but that's knocked Maverick flying, and that's just enough to kill it. That point blank explosion will also be enough to finish off Formula Rossa, and that brings Phantom's Revenge kill tally for this round up to 4. What a great round for the wildcard team. I think Intamin is down to just the 2 Giga coasters now, Millennium Force and Intimidator 305. It looks like they're out for some revenge though against Helix, with a shotgun blast, but strangely, it's decided to skip using the second shot. How unusually reserved for the Intamin Giga Coaster. They won't win if they keep acting like that. Fellow Giga Coaster Fury 325 is next to play. Let's see if it can live up to its name and cause some real damage. That's a good shot against Steel Curtain and Untamed, and yes, the resulting explosion will be enough to eliminate both of those coasters. A really strong play from one of B&M's best rides. There's been a lot of kills these last few rounds, and that's mixed things up so that B&M are now in the lead, with things looking very bad for Intamin and the wildcard team. That could all change very quickly though, so let's see what the Gerstlaur coaster Junker can do. It's taken a shot at Nemesis and Twisted Timbers, and the resulting fire from also hitting the weapon crate has left both coasters a charred mess. That's 2 kills, pushing the Mack and Gerstlaur team back into the lead. RMC will no doubt be out for revenge though, as their flagship coaster Steel Vengeance steps up to play. It's trying to be smart with a trick shot, but that's gone way wide past X2 and into the water. A really poor showing from a coaster that I expected a lot more out of. And so from one of the best coasters to one of the worst, it's Vekoma's SLC again, and it's targeted a tight cluster of coasters. That shot's mostly impacted the scenery though, so there's only a small bit of damage as a result. It does highlight what a dangerous position that group's in though, as a chain reaction from one getting killed could easily destroy the lot of them. X2 clearly isn't messing around, and it's fired a shot directly at Junker, and that's definitely enough to cause the kill. Montu's lucky to have escaped here as well, but with only 5 hit points left, its chances of surviving for much longer look pretty slim. Intamin's Intimidator is up now, and it's decided to take on Vekoma's Boomerang. Hitting that exploding health crate has backfired quite a lot though, as it's knocked Intimidator down from its advantageous position, causing both fire and fall damage to it. The boomerang is eliminated however, and that's got to be disappointing for the Vekoma team. B&M's record-breaking dive coaster Yukon Striker's up now, and that's a crazy shot. Just like a dive coaster, what goes up must come down, and that's damaged several coasters as well as itself. A risky play from Yukon Striker. It's back to Karnan now, and once again it's shooting straight down, this time with a shotgun at Tron Light Cycle. There's really nowhere to run for the Disney coaster, and unsurprisingly, Karnan defeats it easily, and that's one less member of the Vekoma team to worry about. RMC's turn now, and it's Medusa Steel Coaster, and it looks like it's trying to be tactical with the shotgun. The first shots had a good impact on Wrath of Zeus, but Medusa's repositioning herself to take on a different coaster now. That shot of Flying Dinosaur is deadly, and the B&M coaster is eliminated, and that resulting explosion will also cause a significant amount of damage to Lech. It's quite a smart shot from Medusa. Lech gets a chance for revenge straight away however, but it's going to have to be careful if it doesn't want to damage Wrath of Zeus with friendly fire. It looks like it's been a little overcautious though, as that shot sailed past both Medusa and Zeus to land harmlessly on the scenery, and so Medusa lives to fight on with the rest of Team RMC. Back to Dododonpa now, and once again it's lost its airtime skill without its top hat. It just can't seem to land the shots it wants to, and that's a very disappointing single point of damage done to Fury 325. The wildcard team have got to be disappointed with that. Let's see if Intamin's Millennium Force can do any better, and it looks like it's taken revenge on Helix for its earlier transgression, and it's punched Mack's coaster right back in the face. Both these coasters now seem to be trapped in a pit fight together, and it may end up being down to a war of attrition as to which one survives. The defeated looking Montu is up now, and that's a strange shot. I'm not sure if it's a pure miss or if it was trying to destroy the crate so no one else could have it, but regardless that's not really done anything to improve B&M's chances at winning. The Smiler is making a very risky play here, with so many other coasters in close proximity. It's gone for the shotgun, but a blast at such close range will just send shrapnel everywhere, and has done damage to itself as well as the other coasters. I guess its head must still be spinning from those 14 inversions. Let's see what Kuge does next, and interestingly, it's made a tactical move, teleporting out from that precarious position, but has now put itself in the firing line for multiple other coasters, so I guess only time will tell if that was a smart move or not. Straight away it's under fire from Wrath of Zeus, but thankfully for Kuge that shot misses by some distance, and so it can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief for now. Phantom's Revenge continues to live dangerously, and that's a very close shot, but it seems to have paid off, sinking Gravity Max into the depths of the ocean. Phantom's Revenge is only a few inches away from the same fate however, so it's got to be very careful now. Indeed, Intimidator has to have a very easy shot here to finish off the Arrow and Morgan Hypercoaster, but somehow it's missed, being blasted by that exploding crate and eliminating itself. Somehow Phantom's Revenge has survived, and that's Intamin down to just one coaster left. What will Fury do now that it's got a little bit more space to play with? Looks like it's taken a beautiful shot there at Phantom's teammate X2, and it's been eliminated, sending it straight into the water. Team B&M's Fury 325 surely has to be one of the favourites to win the competition now. Will Helix continue its pit fight with Millennium Force? Of course it will, with a short-range bazooka shot that's hit hard. Helix has the greater amount of health now, but Millennium Force should be getting its turn first, so which one of these coasters will survive is anyone's guess. Time for RMC's favourite, Steel Vengeance now, and it's chosen a risky strategy with a close-range grenade. It seems to have paid off however, as that's caused some damage to a bunch of coasters whilst leaving Steel Vengeance relatively unscathed. The SLC is on the warpath now, and it looks like it's going after another inverted coaster. This is probably the only place where you'll ever see an SLC beating Montu, but that just goes to show how unpredictable this game can be. That's gotta be a bitter pill to swallow for Team B&M. Dododonpa now, and it still can't seem to get its aim in. Losing that top hat has clearly been devastating, and it just can't seem to get its head straight after. Back to the vicious Millennium Force and Helix pit fight, and this may well be the last we see of Helix. Not messing around, Millennium Force has gone for a bazooka, which can do up to 50 damage, but that's not been a direct hit, so Helix survives once again. Surely this battle can't last much longer before one of these coasters succumbs. Yukon Striker now, and it's living up to its name. It struck both the Smiler and Steel Vengeance with a vicious fire punch that will have certainly wiped the smile off the Smiler's face. Steel Vengeance is untouchable to many, but if nothing else, this has proven that you can strike her with criticism if it's well placed. Karnan now, and it's gone after Hakuge, and that's a direct hit with a shotgun. Karnan seems to be regretting its decision to attack such a wonderful coaster though, and it can't bring itself to make the second shot, returning instead to its preference of firing downwards, just like its reverse freefall drop. RMC's Mexican Medusa steel coaster now, and it may be hard to see, but it's actually positioned right next to Vekoma's Wrath of Zeus. That fire punch has hit the Firestorm coaster directly though, which will be enough to kill it off. Vekoma lose one more coaster, but they'll have ample chance for revenge as Lech is up right next. Lech is named after the legendary founder of Poland, and there's also a decent beer by the same name. Rather than go directly for Medusa, it looks like it's decided to target the other RMC coaster, Hakuge, and that's knocked both it and Karnan into the same pit. Hakuge and Karnan both have drops in the region of 200 feet, so it's not too surprising that they're locked together here. Phantom's revenge now from the last placed wildcard team, and it really is in quite a poor position here. That's a rather pathetic shot too, and I'm not sure who it was trying to target, but it won't last much longer if it keeps making shots like that. Back to Millennium Force now, and surely it has to finish off Helix here. That shotgun blast will definitely do the trick, and Helix is eliminated. Millennium Force has won that vicious pit fight, but as Intamin's only coaster remaining in the game, can it go on to win the whole competition? Its second shot has been fired wildly into the air, perhaps as a mark of respect for its hard-fought battle with Helix, but it needs to get its head back in the game to target other coasters if it's going to win. B&M's Fury 325 is up next, and it looks like it's joining fellow B&M coaster Yukon Striker for a bit of support. I think its main target here though is Steel Vengeance, as there's plenty of animosity between the two coasters, with Fury beating Steel Vengeance consistently in the Golden Ticket Awards, despite Steel Vengeance winning other polls. And that's a solid shot from Fury 325. There's actually 3 coasters here, and I think it may have been enough for all of them to be eliminated. Donodonpa has been destroyed. Steel Vengeance, which had to be an early favourite, is now also destroyed, and those 2 close-range explosions have also been enough to take out the Smiler. That's 3 kills from Fury, and it's certainly got to be a favourite to win now. Karnan, the final remaining German coaster, is next, and it's chosen a difficult grenade shot. I think that was aimed at the B&M team, but unfortunately for them, it's a complete miss. Let's see if the next coaster can do any better. It is of course Hakuge, my personal favourite to win, but just like Karnan, it's completely messed up its shot. I don't know what it was trying to do there, but shots like that aren't going to do anything to improve RMC's chances of a win. Vekoma now, and their infamous SLC is somehow still going strong. I'll be quite embarrassed if it eliminates Hakuge, and that's a very risky shot. Damage has been done both to Hakuge and Karnan, but thankfully they've still managed to avoid getting knocked into the water. The final remaining member of the wildcard team now, Phantom's Revenge. That's a strange shot too, as seemingly it's only making its risk of being drowned higher as it widens that crater. Things really don't look good for Phantom's Revenge. Back once more to Millennium Force, and that's a powerful shot dealing damage to Karnan and Hakuge. Somehow they survive though, but with barely any hit points left, the end can't be that far away. The cluster of B&Ms now, and I think it's Yukon Striker's shot, but it's struck out. That's a bad miss. Team B&M still remain in the lead however, with more hit points than anyone else left. Back to Karnan now, and it's made a defiant shot at Hakuge and Millennium Force, and that's probably enough to eliminate both of those coasters. Foolishly, it's moving in to get a better look however, and that's very risky as it's been caught in the blast radius from Millennium Force. Both the Intamin and combined Mack and Gerstlaur team have now been completely destroyed, and sadly Hakuge has also been eliminated, leaving RMC with just a single coaster left. That single coaster and RMC's last hope at a win, however, is Medusa, which I've mentioned before is a fantastic ride and one of RMC's finest. It's chosen to make an easy shot at Lech though, and the final remaining good Vekoma coaster is decisively eliminated. That leaves just 5 coasters remaining, including the one that's up next, the terrible Vekoma SLC. I'm really hoping this coaster doesn't win, although that would be a very 2020 sort of thing to happen. Fortunately, it's made a terrible shot, missing everything and causing damage to itself. Surely it must now just be a matter of time until it's eliminated. Phantom's Revenge now and an equally bad shot, aiming for Medusa, but all that terrain in the way is going to stop it causing any damage whatsoever. As more crates fall from the sky, this match really is going right down to the wire, and any one of the remaining teams could still win. Fury 325 now, and that's a very snappy shot that's blasted the Vekoma SLC. Finally, that awful coaster is destroyed, and that ends Vekoma's chances of winning for this year. The final remaining coasters, Medusa, Phantom's Revenge, Yukon Striker and Fury 325, all seem more intent on destroying the scenery now though, so I'm going to fast forward this bit until they start fighting each other again. At one point, Medusa's made a tactical move to the centre of the map, but that's left it vulnerable and Phantom's Revenge has capitalised, making the shot and eliminating the RMC coaster. Only Phantom's Revenge, Yukon Striker and Fury 325 remain, and surely the winner must be declared soon. Once again, the two teams keep blasting away at the scenery between them until a final shot manages to get through. That final shot, amazingly, is by the wildcard coaster's Phantom's Revenge, and it's a direct hit to Fury 325. Not only that, but the damage from the explosion has been enough to take out Yukon Striker. Against all odds, the wildcard team has done it, and Phantom's Revenge is the ultimate winner of 2020's Steel Coaster Battle Royale. Despite being outnumbered and surviving for a ridiculously long time with barely any health, Phantom's Revenge has done it and outlasted 47 other competitors to become the top steel coaster of 2020. Formerly known as Steel Phantom and originally constructed by Arrow, this coaster was extensively modified by Morgan to become the Phantom's Revenge it is today, and by all accounts those modifications were a huge success. In a way, Steel Phantom's been the perfect coaster to describe 2020. Things have been very dark, there's been some rough spots where you've felt like banging your head, and things that looked fun have been removed so you can't experience them anymore. Nonetheless though, we finally made it to the end of it, and hopefully, just like Phantom's Revenge improved on Steel Phantom, next year will go a lot smoother, seem brighter, and reach greater heights than ever before. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I've been Rollercoaster David, wishing you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.